Gravebind is a new unique pair of gloves that's been getting a lot of attention and has been quite hyped up. Now, they do have legitimate uses. For example, Gravebind can automate Arakali's Fang, which leads to making a build that was already powerful, but somewhat clunky to play, super smooth, and if you can afford a squire, one of the best damaging skills in the game. However, there's a lot of other uses for Gravebind, and the mechanics of the gloves are a little bit unclear. Nearby enemies killed by anyone count as being killed by you instead. And herein lies the problem: nearby. And if more information about how the different mechanics of the game interact, you might like my recent video where I talk about the mechanics of strength stacking. If you want to see more about that build, be sure to leave a like, sub to the channel, and ring the bell, as I will be uploading a full build showcase in the near future. And so far I have to say that strength stacking character is one of the most powerful builds I've played in recent memory, although it is a little bit off the topic of today's discussion. Nearby is one of those words in Path of Exile that just kind of works like magic. It's really hard to define it, and you won't really know when it's used on an item, whether nearby means a little bit outside of melee range, or if nearby means the other side of a screen. This is especially problematic for something like Gravebind, where you can put it on your culling character, and then when your carry kills, the color will automatically get it without having to use Southbound or anything like that. And herein lies the problem. Nearby for Gravebind is not the entire screen. I tested this with a friend. He's wearing Gravebind on a character that is wearing 10 combustible jewels. Combustibles gives you 10% reduced quantity of items found. With 10 of them, you generate no items. So what this should mean is, any kills that are attributed to him will not drop loot. And sure enough, when I kill things near his character, no loot drops. But you'll notice as I'm clearing this blood aqueduct with absolutely no filter on whatsoever, at a decent range away from him, there's plenty of loot dropping. And that's because those kills are happening outside the range of Gravebind. I'm not very good with Pewie's units of measurement, but I am pretty good with general distance, and I can tell when something covers a screen versus it doesn't. And this is barely half of a screen. It's probably closer to a third. Now, if your goal is to just sustain Arakali's Fang, this is probably close enough. The spiders likely aren't going to be killing everything at the far edges of your screen to the point that you don't get any kill credit. But if your goal is to use this as some kind of culling character for an MF build, or other party play applications where you're directing kills to one person, then Gravebind kind of sucks. And if you didn't test this for yourself and you don't know, you've probably lost hundreds, if not thousands, of valuable items, because the character with all the quant that has the Gravebind on isn't getting the kill credit. Just think of it this way. As you watch the Blood Aqueduct footage, which I'll now loop for the rest of the video, any time an item appears is a kill that's not attributed to the Magic Find character. So if you're in group play, and if you have 100 plus quant and 400 plus rarity, that's a really small radius. But your killing character is probably going to be playing something like Lightning Arrow, Tornado Shot, Kinetic Blast, Spark, or maybe even Penance Brand, something that has wide-reaching damage and kill potential. You'll want explosions to chain off screen, and I guess, to be fair here, any explosion started by the Gravebind character will still continue off screen because that is complete normal attribution. But if something is hit off screen and killed, it's not going to explode, and it's not going to be attributed to the Gravebind character, because that's outside of their nearby radius, which is a very small circle around the character himself. This is a situation where it feels like a scam. It does count nearby enemies, and it's working exactly as intended. The problem is the word nearby couldn't be more unclear. There's plenty of nearby effects that reach almost to the edge of your screen. It would be really helpful if there was some sort of denotation on every item tagged as nearby that told you, yes, this is the exact radius. Or if it was normalized, which would be even better, because having a nearby at 50 units and then a nearby at 150 does get really confusing. So personally, what I'd prefer to see is nearby normalized, much like recently. Recently means 4 seconds. It doesn't matter the context, and you don't have to think about, Well, is this for recently that's 2 seconds or for recently that's 8 seconds? No, 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 no. If the word recently appears, it is 4 seconds. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. I'd love to see nearby normalized to, let's just say, 100 units. Obviously, this number's up to GGG, and I'm not particularly picky about what the number is. I'm sure certain effects will be more and less useful to players. If the radius is larger or, in theory, smaller, as there might be something with a nearby tag and a negative effect. But regardless, if the nearby negative effect is too detrimental due to a larger radius, you could always say enemies within blank units and not use the nearby tag. I wanted to make this video partially as a public service so that anyone MFing with Gravebind doesn't find themselves in the unfortunate situation of wasting hours and not getting the amount of loot that they should be. I also wanted to use this time to discuss nearby, because it is a problem in Path of Exile, and even if this video fixes it for Gravebind because the community is all aware that, hey, this is the radius and it's not going to be everything, what happens when there's another item that says nearby that has a completely different radius? Or what happens if, even worse, at some point in the future Gravebind is updated and the radius is changed? Nearby should be a fixed number so everyone knows exactly what they're getting into, or at the very least it should say as part of a tooltip of the item how far nearby reaches. Consider yourself warned, don't use Gravebind if you plan to use some sort of long-range culling setup. It won't give you kill credit because it's only enemies nearby to the character wearing the gloves. And a special thanks to Shotokan, who is a good friend of mine, a moderator for my channel, and took time out of his day to test this with me, so big props to him. But for now, what do you think? Is it okay that nearby is a confusing mess and can outright mislead players? Or would you rather it either be normalized or transparent? I'd love to hear your thoughts about this and any other similar effects down in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and again, a special thanks to my patrons and YouTube channel members. If you want to support me, you can do so by clicking the links down in the description below, or on screen right now. You can also support by making purchases through my Nexus page. Or if you just want to chill and hang out, be sure to join the Discord. Again, links for everything are down in the description below. Thank you, and have a great day.